course, now we have another speaker from Cambodia.
Yes.
Morse will join us. I told you a lot about Bill Morse, about Cambodia Landmine Museum, Self-Hold Mining, Landmine Relief Fund, Royal School Program. So now creme de la creme, a man who made a great impact also on my personal work, because a few years ago I traveled to Cambodia. I planned to stay for 2 weeks. I stayed for 9 months, and that's how my great passion to this topic and my feeling that I'm obliged to support this action. And that is one of my greatest goals in my life. That's how it started. So Bill Morse, let's see first the trailer of the movie about the work of Cambodian Landmine Relief Fund, but also all the Cambodian team who is working every day on the field and doing wonderful work to clear Cambodia from landmine.
Yes.
Dear Bill, or I should rather say Babu. It's wonderful to hear as always. I hope that we'll see each other very soon in Cambodia. I plan to come very, very soon. I know that it's 5 a.m. in the morning in Cambodia right now, and I know that you work so extremely hard and you are so humble that you never speak too much about your work. Your actions are speaking for yourself. But today I wish to ask you, I know that we don't have a lot of time and this story is for a comprehensive book, but I wish to ask you for the story of Landmine Relief Fund, Cambodian Landmine Museum, Cambodian Self-Help Demining, Royal School Program, all this mission which started also when you came to Cambodia just for a moment, and then you planned to come with your wife and dedicate yourself and your life to this important mission to clean the ground from landmines, but also to support education and build schools. That's why Royal School Program. Please tell us more about this beautiful story and how those who are watching us today from all over the world can support this important work.
Thank you. Susdai. Bill. My name is Bill. I'm an American. I grew up during the Vietnam War. I was an officer in the United States Army. I went on active duty at the end of the war, and I didn't have to go to Vietnam. In 1970, with the invasion of Cambodia, I became an active participant in the anti-war movement. For years, I was actively and peripherally involved in the peace movement. In 2003, a friend told me about a Cambodian man who was clearing landmines with a stick and a screwdriver. My wife and I traveled to Cambodia to find him. His name was Akira, and he ran a small landmine museum, cared for wounded kids, and cleared landmines whenever someone found something, whenever someone was injured. We began to support his work, and in 2007, I moved to Cambodia to help him formalize and actually license his demining organization called Cambodian Self-Help Demining, CSHD. CSHD received their license in 2009, and they've been clearing landmines ever since. So far, we've cleared over 250 minefields, more than 8.5 million square meters of land, and we've returned more than 85,000 people to land that was, in every sense of the word, killing them. In 2014, CSHD started their first explosive ordnance disposal team, EOD team, a bomb squad, so to speak. We now have 2 EOD teams working in rural Cambodia to deal with items found by locals, items that are not in minefields, but are left by one of the many armies who fought in Cambodia from 1965 until 1998. That's when the war ended. That's when the fighting ended over here. My wife and I have been here now for 14 years, funding the demining work, building schools on and near old minefields, setting up organic farming programs in rural villages, and helping to fund the EOD teams and explosive risk education programs in areas still under threat from landmines and UXOs, unexploded ordnance. EORE, risk education, is one of the 5 pillars of mine action. Most injuries today don't happen in minefields. Half the injuries in Cambodia last year happened outside of a minefield, happened because of unexploded ordnance, things that were left behind. The minefields in Cambodia have been identified, and there's a plan to clear them, hopefully by 2025. The villagers know where the minefields are. They've figured that out over the last 40 years, but hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of pieces of UXO litter the country. None of this is done alone. Mine actions are carried out by the governments of the countries where the threat exists, with help from other countries around the world. But it's not simply the responsibility of those who laid the mines, which in Cambodia were the soldiers on all sides. It's not simply the responsibility of those who provided the mines, the artillery shells and the rockets and the bombs. The responsibility for seeing an end to the use of landmines, the clearing landmines, which are still being used today, as we know, is yours and it's mine. It's the responsibility of all of us. We want to see a mine-free world by 2025. That's the objective around the planet. Can we do that? In Cambodia, I think we can. Will we do it? Only time will tell. What we need is funding. Money hires people, people clear landmines, and when landmines are cleared, people live a productive life. The use of landmines will only stop when all of us stand up and say no, when we demand that our governments never again use these terrible weapons that kill and maim for decades. We had 3 men on our team in January who were clearing an anti-tank mine in the north of Cambodia near Preah Vihear. It was booby-trapped, and our three of our 4 team were blown to pieces. 1 man survived. 1 man we couldn't find much of him left. I'm often asked why I have decided in the twilight of my years, I'm 74 years old, to take on this hopelessly quixotic task. Can we really make a difference? Every mine cleared, every piece of unexploded ordnance destroyed is a life changed. It's a life saved. In Khmer, we have a saying, Min Mui Chivit Mui, 1 mine, 1 life. So we keep working, and eventually this will get done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As you know, Bill, when I was visiting you, when we were discussing the landmine situation, you were showing me landmines and explaining everything. You gave me, with your team, with Akira, a special gift, a bracelet done from unexploded ordnance from landmine. And there are words in Khmer, 1 mine, 1 life. And that was the inspiration to create the name of the campaign. Exactly, 1 mine, 1 life.